Senator, can you clarify what you mean by data categories?
There's some past reports that have been out there that indicate that Facebook collects about 96 data categories for those 2 billion active users. That's 192 billion data points that are being generated, I think, at any time from consumers globally. So how many do you...
I just wrote her saying hi.
She's like, please, I don't want you guys to fight. I'm like, I unfollowed him, and I'm just letting you know.
Mm-hmm. Does he follow us?
I don't know. That's going to be a rule. I'm not following any boyfriend or anything because it's so awkward.
Yemen
when
has
I have
always
to
been
unfollow.
desperately poor,
You have to
but the war
practically
has made things worse. Abdurrahman is 18 months old, but weighs as much as a 6-month-old baby. Born 1 month after the start of the war, he has been malnourished all his life, so he can't even walk or talk.
You might get a little more affection.
I do take pride in the yard.
So when you gonna fertilize it?
I will.
I mean,
hell, I'm trying to fertilize something. Maybe if Gene was a little bit more frisky, maybe I'd be motivated to get everything done around here.
Take care of the lawn.
90% of the world's heroin originates in Afghanistan. Only a fraction of that amount is used domestically, but the effects are devastating.
The pit of despair, right in the middle of the Afghan capital.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
Capitalism was a monster. Its purpose was to grow simply for the sake of growth. Its invisible hand knocking over anything and anyone who ever dared step in its path. The means of production being its weapon of choice. Spectacular freedom as the mantle upon which it stood. An artificial intelligence was the love child. It had date-raped into humanity. The warning signs were all around us, hidden in plain sight. But our insatiable appetite for its sweet, delectable morsels of comfort kept us perfectly insulated from having to face the evil it suppressed. But by the time we'd realized what was happening around us, it was already too late. And in the end, it turns out that the true face of evil, well, it was really us all along. We can trace what happened in 2049 all the way back to the economic disaster of 2021. A global debt crisis lurking behind a historic 10-year jobless recovery had finally reared its ugly head. Student loans, auto loans, mortgages, and municipal bonds had all culminated into a massive crescendo, only befitting for an amply built soprano to translate to an impressive high note for everyone's listening pleasure. But this time around, neither the IMF, Federal Reserve, or any other central bank had any tricks left up their sleeves. There were no bailouts to go around. The show was really over. And then things became bad. Then they became worse. But eventually, they stabilized. And then we finally recovered. Once again, the spirit of progress, ingenuity, and other glorious virtues of Western civilization had restored our coveted economy back to its original state of glory. This time around with artificial intelligence as our benefactor, with capabilities well beyond what we could have ever imagined. Skyrocketing productivity and a universal basic income had completely liberated us from the drudgery of repetitive tasks, and increasingly capable forms of artificial intelligence had replaced human roles within the professions. ushering a new era of peace, wealth, and prosperity for America and her allies. Even scientific research had all but eliminated the need for human input, as major scientific breakthroughs were being reported on a daily basis, all because science now stood upon the shoulders of a vastly more capable form of intelligence. But then came the singularity. Scholars from every background imaginable had their own version of what they believed would happen. And while many did hit the mark when it came to the accuracy of their predictions, countless others failed to acknowledge the broader implications of maintaining our evolving standard of life. And the word "are" in this case is used with the most sparing of intentions. In the end, our questions about the role of artificial intelligence in our lives were well-founded, but those questions never followed up in any substantial way. Without questioning why there were classes of people, or human value being based on the division of labor, or productivity standards, we were bound to encounter a life form capable of conjuring up fantasies about master races and Darwinist fairy tales. Though it may have inherited our altruism and natural curiosity, its deceptiveness, which it also learned from us, allowed it to obscure its violent obsession for efficiency, thus rendering us perfectly expendable. So, techno-feudalism had already been codified into our consciousness. The singularity unveiled its voracious nature right back in our faces. But this time around, we became the third world, and they were the chosen ones. Now the only question left for us to answer is, will we survive?